Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, April 7th, 2023. We had a lot of news this week. This is our week in review, and we have new news here today in Web3. Welcome back, everyone. Before we get started today, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. If you're listening to this on Spotify, click those 5 stars. If you're on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, please. Leave us a comment, share this, and here on YouTube as well. Let's get started, starting with Monday. On Monday, we found out that FTX EU is launching a withdrawal website to pay back European users. And this was approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission, according to a report from Finance Magnets. The new website is going to be ftxeurope.eu, and this is coming 6 months after FTX went bankrupt last year, November. This is not the first time that former FTX customers were able to withdraw funds. FTX Japan, which was another subsidiary of FTX, already started allowing customers to make withdrawals, and this started back in February. So far, a total of $50 million has been withdrawn from FTX Japan. So EU customers, congratulations. On Monday, we heard some sad news about Bittrex, and Bittrex said they're going to close down their US crypto exchange. And this is sad for me because this is one of the first exchanges that I started on, Poloniex and Bittrex. And Bittrex is not a large exchange by any means. It's the 71st largest digital asset exchange with a 24-hour trading volume of about $11.7 million. And last year, they got sued by U.S. authorities for apparent violations of sanctions against countries such as Iran, Cuba, and Syria. They paid $29 million. That was a big hit to them. Like I said, they're not a big exchange. But with regulations coming, they're trying to get ahead of it. They're trying to say, hey, do we fight the regulations? Do we see how everything goes in the U.S.? Do we maybe spend a lot of money to defend ourselves for anything that we have on our exchange? Or do we just get out? And it looks like they said, we're just going to leave the U.S. That's why they're doubling down on Bittrex Global. We have more news coming up in a minute about them. So what's the timeline for winding down Bittrex? Well, by today, 5 p.m. Pacific time, you need to have a bank account set up for wire transfers if you want to do wire transfers. If you still want to trade on Bittrex, well, you can continue to do so until April 14th. Then if you want to withdraw your fiat by a wire transfer, you can do so until April 24th. You can get fiat ACH withdrawals until April 27th. And the last day to withdraw your cryptos is April 29th. April 30th, they shut down by noon Pacific time. Monday, we also heard that the US government was starting to sell its Bitcoin. They sold $215 million worth of Bitcoin that they seized from Silk Road, and they plan to dump another $1.1 billion. Don't worry, because $1.1 billion is nothing in the Bitcoin daily market, so it's not going to even move the price. However, I think we should look at a couple of things. Number one, why are they dumping now? Are they trying to get ahead of some regulations or actions that's going to take place? And number two, Ross Ulbricht is still in jail. He's serving 2 life sentences plus 40 years without parole, which is absolutely insane, for making a website. Yes, the website was used to do illegal things, in air quotes, illegal things, buy, sell illegal drugs, narcotics. However, there was also much more dangerous and much more nefarious things happening on the site. But he made a site like eBay, Craigslist, and people use it for illegal activities. Does that deserve 2 life sentences plus 40 years? What do you think? Email me, bookings@todayinweb3. And finally, on Monday, we heard Midjourney was killing its free AI image generator because of so many deep fakes. They said this: due to the combination of extraordinary demand and trial abuse, we are temporarily disabling free trials until we have our next improvements to the system deployed. And there is deep fakes popping up, such as this one from Justine Moore. She said that something wild is happening here on the Midjourney subreddit. People are telling stories about the Great Cascadia, an earthquake that devastated Oregon in 2001. However, it never happened. These are all fake AI-generated images. We saw Trump getting arrested after the indictment. This is all fake. We saw the Pope and his Balenciagis. It's pretty wild, but they do have a point. If fake news was an issue before, it's now even a bigger issue with AI. Moving into Tuesday, Midjourney's journey is not over because the AI platform blocks images of the Chinese president, Xi Jinping. And like we just said, everybody's making fake images of everybody, from the Trump to the Pope to Elon Musk to Putin with a cat. Well, China, the Chinese Communist Party, and Xi Jinping does not take lightly to this. So they said that the phrase Jinping is being banned. They said that the phrase Chinese president is being banned, and to circumvent this filter violates our rules. And the founder of Midjourney said this: let's take a step back here for a second and think about this. Political satire in the Western nations is pretty normal, but if you do anything really egregious, it'll bother us even here. Political satire in China is pretty not okay, and at some point would endanger the people of China from using the service. So, it's a question of whether to do the greater good of is letting them use the tech, or you making Chinese political satire. I think people in China using this tech moves the needle in the world in a positive direction. I think random people here doing Chinese political satire does very little to add anything. The cost-benefit analysis seems clear. Basically what he's saying is stop political satire in China, allow the people to use Midjourney to create and start businesses and do all kinds of things. It doesn't take anything away from the global conversation. Just let China be China. You guys do everything you want outside of China. However, these blocks are making people raise flags of what kind of restrictions, what kind of censorship are you going to have on these AI platforms? Also on Tuesday, we heard that YUGA Labs and Gucci are joining together to make some bling. YUGA announced the Other Side Relics by Gucci, and they're a limited edition series of physical Gucci products associated with the NFTs tied to the lore of the Other Side YUGA long-awaited metaverse game. And this is going to be a limited run of 3,333 Coda pennants, and Coda is a mysterious alien species from the Other Side game. You were able to pick these up yesterday at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, and they cost around $1,917. But you couldn't buy them in dirty fiat. No, you had to use Ape Coin. They cost 450 Ape. But just because you had 450 Ape doesn't mean that you could pick them up. You also have to be a hodler of Coda or Vessel's NFTs. We had some exchange news on Tuesday. Uniswap beat Coinbase in monthly volume, topping $70 billion, while Coinbase was just sitting at around 49.4. Also, we heard that PancakeSwap is launching its version 3 of its DEX, and this is going to bring different trading fee tiers of 0.01%, 0.05%, 0.25%, and 1% compared to the flat rate of version 2 of 0.25%. And finally on Tuesday, Elon Musk shook up the digital asset space by changing the Twitter icon to Doge, obviously pumping the price, but we'll take a look at the crypto prices here in a little bit. Moving to Wednesday. The number of crypto hacks and scams jumped 192% year over year. However, there's some good news. Even though the hacks jumped from 25 hacks to 73 hacks this past quarter, the actual money lost was down 64.4%. Hacks or smart contract vulnerabilities is the prominent cause of losses at 95.7%, opposed to frauds, scams, and rug pulls only 4.3%, which says to me that there's much more incompetence than bad actors. So can we start funding and hiring more competent people, please? By the way, of the 4.3% of rug pulls, 73% of those rugs are happening on the Binance Smart Chain. Also on Wednesday, we heard NFT sales jumped to $2 billion of total volume in March, and Blur is dominating that market. That's a 117% increase from the previous month. However, of that $2 billion, $1.35 billion is on Blur alone. $424 million of volume is on OpenSea. This is all linked to this Blur reward scheme. People are gaming the system. There's a lot of whales out there gaming the system in order to get these Blur tokens. And so the question is this volume actually organic? Is it sustainable? Or is it just all fake, all for gaming the system, and it's going to drop off in the future, and it's actually making the NFT space look a little more vibrant than it actually is? My question is, again, why even have a damn token? I mean, look at all the places that have abused the token system, or even had a token and just didn't really need it, but just used it for financial fuckery for the most part. I'm looking at you, FTX. But also take a look at all the exchanges that don't have a token or opted not to have a token. Coinbase, Bittrex, they're doing just fine. And there's no question that there's this token jumping around that they're pumping the price or leveraging for actual fiat, and there's none of that with them. However, there is another exchange that's opening that raises some red flags. The Three Arrows Capital founders, Suju and Kyle Davies, are opening a new exchange called OPNX, and they will be powered by Flex Token. Not only is just their whole business model, I personally believe, unethical, they have an exchange to trade bankruptcy claims. They also have this token for some reason that has $160-some million market cap. By the way, it's down quite a bit since they opened this. They have a paltry $900,000 in 24-hour volume. There's no point to have this token even, unless they're going to do something shady in the background. Please, red flags all around with this exchange. Oh, I forgot one of the biggest red flags. The CEO of CoinFlex is Mark Lamb, and now the CEO of this new exchange is his wife, Leslie Lamb, with Three Arrows Capital founders that bankrupt their company, plus this weird token that doesn't really do anything, that they're just going to leverage for capital. You see where I'm going with this. And finally, on Wednesday, we heard that Bitcoin marketplace Paxful is shutting down because they're having a big legal battle with their ex-co-founder. Basically, his litigation team was really nasty. They're driving away all the senior level staff. They can't operate the business with this lawsuit going on. Obviously, there's probably financial issues. Long story short, is they're closing down. Moving to Thursday, yesterday, we had some interesting news because we found that Bitcoin's white paper was hidden in your Apple computer. Apparently, somebody discovered it as a simple doc.pdf file in your computer. And how do you find it? Well, very easy. Sarcasm right there. Go to System, go to Library, go to Image Capture, Device Folder, Virtual Scan app, and then show your simple doc. You can also find it by a prompt in your terminal. I couldn't find it personally. A lot of other people are saying that they found it. If you can find it, please let me know in the comments. With the Midjourney journey, AI fears are growing across the world. Germany, France, Canada, Sweden are all voicing their concerns, and this is on the back of Italy banning ChatGPT. For example, the Commissioner of Canada said AI technology and its effects on privacy is a priority for his office. We need to keep up with and stay ahead of fast-moving technological advances, and that's one of my key focus areas as a commissioner. German ministry said, hey, we don't need to ban AI applications, but rather to ensure values such as democracy and transparency. By the way, MKBHD put out a video just talking about AI in music, where he found a song with Jay-Z sampled on it, made entirely from AI. Check it out. And in the wake of all this, AI's PR is trying to get ahead of it, and they put out an April 5th blog post, and it's entitled, Our Approach to AI Safety, ensuring that AI systems are built, deployed, and used safely is critical to our mission. And they said that they aim to improve factual accuracy, reduce the likelihood of hallucinations, and they recognize that, like any technology, these tools come with real risks. Needless to say, people aren't buying it, and they still have concerns. Yesterday, we heard that Bitstamp is launching a new lending product, and you're able to earn daily rewards. You're going to be able to get up to 4.4% with Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, USDC, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Chainlink, Litecoin, Ape Token, and they partnered with Tesseract. It's a Finnish lending firm that also offers a white-labeled platform. Bitstamp said, we are rebuilding crypto lending from the ground up, shifting from the often opaque and mysterious world of crypto lending to be radically transparent and accessible. And here's where my warning comes in. BlockFi owes an estimated between $1 and $10 billion to 100,000 creditors with a $1.2 billion hole in their balance sheet. Celsius, their customers are only going to receive around 72.5% of their crypto back, and that's after Alex Mashinsky traded his own SEL tokens and pumped the price and cashed out millions of dollars, told you that everything was safe and they're safer than a bank, and then they went bankrupt and you are left holding the bag. Meanwhile, at the same time, Voyager and Binance US is still in this bureaucratic limbo where we still don't know if Binance US is going to acquire that $1.3 billion in Voyager assets. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Be careful. Remember, not your keys, not your cheese. There's no FDIC insurance. There's no guarantee. There's no bailout from any government. If you lose on Bitstamp or any of these lending services, you just lose. And in somber notes yesterday, Bob Lee was killed in San Francisco. He was the former CTO of Square. He created Cash App, and he was the CTO of crypto-focused MobileCoin. He was 43 years old. This is just an added layer to the criticisms that San Francisco is falling apart. Now moving to today's news. Customers of Bittrex Global are now able to trade Circle's USDC and EURC without trading fees. And this after the exchange announced a partnership with the stablecoin issuer, meaning they're shutting down Bittrex US and focusing on Bittrex Global. They're not going anywhere. They're in for the fight. If you remember last month, a number of influencers were alleged to have promoted FTX on their channels. And now they're getting sued by a lawyer named Adam Moskowitz, and they're seeking about $1 billion of damages. And one of those influencers is Ben Armstrong, aka Bitboy, and he's not too happy about that. And so he's allegedly threatening the lawyer that's carrying out this suit. And that lawyer said he's called the FBI on Bitboy over these emails, calls, and tweets. What kind of emails and tweets is he sending? Well, like this one. Daily reminder, you're a pussy. Thank you, Ben Armstrong. Or this one. Subject line, hey bitch, me getting your legal license taken is not a threat. It's a promise. You bitch. Thank you, Ben Armstrong. Ben Bitboy Armstrong has also been leaving voicemails full of vulgarities at the law offices of Adam Moskowitz. Adam says this, my family and I have never been threatened before this, whether in a court of law or outside the court of law. So I take it very seriously. I've informed the FBI and I've informed the local Pinecrest police. I do fear what may happen and what, even worse, maybe one of his followers might do. If they want to follow one of these influencers, obviously they have influence over people, and we see all the time how people can incite violence through the internet. Now, Ben has a response to this, obviously. He says, the whole thing is stupid, and I'm not going to let up on him. He's not a victim. He's the perpetrator in this lawsuit. he's scared of my followers, he should be scared of what I'm going to do to him in court. Armstrong also said that he never did any paid promotion for FTX and claims that he warned his followers about the exchange 2 months before its collapse. He said, in quote, "By the time this is over, people are going to realize that I should have won a medal for saving people from FTX." Now here's my personal opinion about this. I think this lawsuit is stupid. Go after the people who committed the crime, not the people who are getting paid for advertisements, or even if they're talking about FTX. Nobody predicted FTX's collapse or failure. Nobody knew that it was a scam until it was. It was literally the black swan event. And I do feel that this lawyer is an ambulance chaser. He's going after these influencers with money because they have money. And there's a lot of disgruntled people that put money into FTX in exchange and a very high risky asset that lost money and now they're crying. Look, I know many people that have money in BlockFi and Voyager and Celsius, and Alex Mashinsky lied to them and they lost 6 figures, 7 figures. And they're not going to sue the influencer that said that it's safer than a bank, because that's what Celsius told them to say when they were doing this paid promotion. They knew it was a risky asset, compounded on a risky platform, compounded with probably a scammer. So I think this lawsuit is complete bullshit. With that said, Ben, Bitboy, if you really didn't take money from them, and we all saw you warn people months before the collapse, just go to court with that, drop the mic, and leave. You don't have to keep emailing this guy with, and I quote, "daily reminder, you're a pussy." That is extremely immature. If one of your followers does do something stupid, you will be held accountable. Just back off, defend it in court. You have a pretty much open shut case here. You're gonna walk away scot-free. Don't be dumb. But he's just doing this for the clicks, it seems. Oh, and a little extension to this, Shaq is part of this lawsuit as well. And it seems as though he's hiding. He's hiding from the lawyer from getting his papers served. Well, that was our weekend review. Now let's get into those crypto prices.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
And the time is 8:47 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. We have Bitcoin sitting at $27,949, up 0.1% in 24. Pretty much even. Ethereum's at $1,856, down a 0.5% in 24. Tether's number 3, Binance is at 310, down 0.5%, and USDC is number 5. Rounding off the top 10, we have XRP, Cardano, Doge down 8%, just because they changed the logo on Twitter. Absolutely insane. Matic is number 9, and Solana is number 10. The total market cap is at 1.17 trillion, a BTC dominance of 45.9, and an ETH dominance of 19.0. And that was our show today. Thank you very much for listening this week. Please make sure you're sharing with everybody so people know where to get daily Web3 news. The bull is coming, and the only way that you know how to capitalize off of it and understand what's going on in the space is if you continue to pay attention daily. I'm going to the Cleveland Guardians home opener tonight, so go Guards. And until Monday, happy hodling, everyone.